Alright guys, welcome back. So today, I'm getting a haircut. Right after this, right after lunch. So today we got a crack case. I went to the store for this. This will set up in set time 4 to 6 hours, cure time 15 to 24. And it cures to 5020 psi. So, you see the machine work here. There's something I'm not telling you guys. So this is 3100 instead of 5000 and cures in 4 to 6 hours versus 15 to 24. Set time 6 minutes. So this is a lot quicker, and it may just provide you with what you're looking for. However, this we want it as tough as we can get it. So this is the engine case cover off of my TRX 200D 1991, my forever four-wheeler. So I got to show you guys what I've already gotten done. So I started this process last weekend, I think, a couple of days ago anyway. So this is where the electronics come into the case. Down here is the trigger wheel, or the timing trigger. So this piece right here, if you can see the gray lines, you can see where I've already cut out. And then I took a piece of tape and we got that piece patched in there. So what we're going to do now is we're going to fill this whole cavity full. And I've noticed there's also a pretty good hit right here. There's even some chipping on the back side. So we're going to get in there with a Dremel and get that taken care of. But this repair here should be really solid because it's got something to actually back against. So I've got a bolt, got a big, huge washer clamped in the clamp, and then this is kind of my fixture. Got some t-shirts for, what would you call it, to reduce it getting bumped or scraped. And then I got a fresh 200 grit on here. So this piece here was actually sticking up a lot, so we had to spend quite a bit of time to get it down, and then we tried to go over the whole thing and get that flattened down nice. So I got a lot of confidence in this. I'm not sure what we're going to do here. We have enough space on the back side to just put a layer of epoxy down, but what I want to do is go in there with a Dremel tip and try and open up the cracked bits. I mean, we might be able to take a piece of aluminum sheet and go all the way down the back side, which we have a big $30 piece of, I think this is 1/8 inch or 10 gauge. So that's the setup. Let's get the camera set up and get going. So we're going to go for lunch, and we'll see you guys in the next part. Okay guys, hey, so we got this side cover back on here. I was thinking of making a shield to cover up the sprocket so the kids don't ever get their feet caught in there, because nobody wants to know what happens when that happens. So one of the issues we have is just the old gasket that's still on there, so I decided to leave it on and then silicone it with some Moto Seal. And then immediately it started leaking just ahead of the chain. So I took it off again and then resealed it with some black Ultra RTV.
I left it set about 4 hours yesterday, and then came in the evening and started tightening down. So as I started tightening down, I went around, tightened them all a little bit, and then at the end, it was loose. So I had to keep going and going until they're all pretty tight. So, of course, that makes it so that the gasket gets squeezed out a lot, which seemed like it was leaking. Well, there's a crank seal inside this cover, and then that has a weep hole on the bottom, so that was leaking. But it seems like it stopped though. So we got back around 9:30 last night, and it was pretty dark, so I couldn't really see. So I did check the oil when it was hot before we started back. So our whole trip was probably an hour watching the fish and stuff. So we had a little time on sitting around watching the creek. So the starter works fine, and the oil leak seems to have disappeared. I just started it up, drove it around over here, and yeah. One of the issues is I went in there and found the air filter was missing. And I think I remember putting it on the Recon 250. However, I don't specifically remember that it was the filter from here. I thought it was just a foam filter that I had in stock. So apparently I took everything, including the screen thing, and moved it over there. So I grabbed the screen one because the Recon's out of commission now, torn apart. And we made our own little L bracket to hold the filter in. It's no longer available from Honda, and I felt like I could do a pretty good job relatively quickly. So now we'll have to take our cover off sometime and check on the filter, but now it's not dusty out anymore. So that means this has been to Tall Pines once or twice, and all around the farm here and the muck. So it's had many miles on it with a dirty filter, which really sucks, but I think this motor will get rebuilt at some point. I did notice that the blow-by goes up into the frame, so maybe we don't really know how much blow-by there is, because you would have to take the tank off and run it. You would have to run it hot with the tank off and with that little connecting hose off. So that's the only way you could really tell how much blow-by it's actually got. It feels really weak compared to the 250, which is not a 250. It's only a 230, so 30 cc's more, and that's a push rod. This overhead can. This motor should make more power, possibly, than the 233 or whatever that is, whatever the 250 Recon is. So anyway, guys, it's not leaking a lot. The dipstick is actually higher now than it was yesterday when it was hot, so that's odd. We were relatively flat on the flat lane. Maybe it was an incorrect reading with the temperature of the oil or whatever, or maybe I had it turned and it fell into a thread, or had a little more engagement when I put the plug in. But I think what we're going to do now is go down a little earlier. They changed a lot of stuff on the creek so that we can ride around in the creek now. There's two creeks down there which merge. So the one creek, we got to see if we can get in. I'm going to take a shovel in case I got to break the bank down a little bit to get down into it, but should be pretty fun. And I'm kind of sick of making videos, so if I had a camera person, we could send them and they get some nice action shots. But for now, we fixed the back brake and the brake cable, and the brakes are pretty good. They were a little bit oily. They were very dirty. The whole cover was full of sand. So I guess to recap, we fixed the rear brake cable. We adjusted the rear brake arm and made all that clean and functional again. We fixed the front brake adjuster and got our front brakes working. And we got the side cover fixed so it doesn't leak anymore, or it looks like it's not leaking. If it does leak, I'll be looking for the oil seal and the new gasket, and that should definitely fix it. And then we got the valves adjusted. So the one valve adjuster there was off a good bit. It's kind of hard to tell because what we do is we loosen up and then play with it a little bit, get it free, and then set it. So it seemed like the one was pretty much off, like 5 graduations, 10, 5 or 7 or something. So
Looks like it is getting a storm around.
yeah, something's storming. Anyway, guys, that's the end of this episode. We'll see you in the next one.